नो, फिर आपने एनोनिमस से आप बैठे हुए हैं, यू हैव टू लॉग आउट एंड अपीयर फ्रॉम योर ओरिजिनल नेम. I will not answer any of your. Yes sir, yes sir, yes sir, yes we can see the book. चलें, very good. अच्छा जी, this is a theoretical framework and hypothesis development. So this is all theoretical framework. When we are talking about theoretical framework, so it means we are talking about all the variables and the relationship among the variables. Okay, and when we talk about the hypothesis development, it means we are going to write the statement that how we are going to test the relationship, or how we are, or how we will approach to solve the problem through the hypothesis statement. ठीक है, through different hypothesis statement or through different relationships among the variables, among the concepts. Okay, let's start. There is a need for a theoretical framework. A theoretical framework represents your belief that how certain phenomena are related to each other. A model which is called conceptual model as well. A model and an explanation of why you believe that these variables are associated with each other. So the why answer is in the theory. Okay, and how the variables, how the concepts are related, it is part of the conceptual model. So we are required the support of the theory, of any theory, okay, to build a relationship among the variables. We can never make a conceptual model among the variables, among different variables. For example, motivation leads to satisfaction. So we can never say the motivation is an independent variable and the satisfaction is a dependent variable until there is a theory. Until there is a theory. The theory is the basis for developing any kind of relationship. So relationship can never exist until there is a theory. Acha ji. So the process of building a theoretical framework includes 3 points: introducing definition. This definition is also called descriptive definitions. This first point is also called descriptive definitions. Descriptive definition is defining the variables, defining the concepts, okay, which you will be using, the variables which you will be using to solve your problem. Okay, so the descriptive definitions you define in the theoretical framework. So there are a few questions. Let me take them. No, there is no question. Okay, let's move on. Actually, developing a conceptual model that provides a descriptive representation of your theory. As I have already made the conceptual model many times in the class, there is a circle with the name of a variable, arrow towards the another variable, another circle, and this is called conceptual model. So this conceptual model basically provides the descriptive representation of your theory. Okay, whatever your theory says, whatever the relationship your theory says, you describe through your conceptual model, and coming up with a theory that provides an explanation for relationships between the variables in your model. So you have to come up with a theory, the established theory that provides or that establish the relationship between the variables of your model. It means no model can be developed until you have a theory. Okay, this is the basically process of building a theoretical framework. This is the procedure of building a theoretical framework. Usually we use in the deductive research project or RP1, RP2, you will be using this way. So there has to be a theoretical framework before you move on to chapter number 3 in your thesis in the RP1 and RP2. Let me see if anybody's okay. No question. Let's move on. Variables. So, what do you think variables are? Variables basically is second name of a concept. Is anything that can take on varying values. Okay, ये vary से निकला है basically. So a variable is anything that can take on varying values, differing values. The values can differ at various times for the same object or person, or at the same time for different objects or person. Same object or person पे, object पे भी, person पे भी, और same time दोनों पे. ठीक है? For example, you may see in the book. Let's open the book and see over here and read this out. This example. In this example, production unit is one of the variable, and absenteeism is another variable, motivation is another variable. So there are three variables defined or through the scenario. So let's read it. I will be reading one variable for you. Production units. One worker in the manufacturing department may produce one widget per unit per minute. One widget means 1 unit per minute. ठीक है? One worker in the manufacturing department may produce 1 unit per minute. A second man produce 2 per minute. So it is varying. It is not static. For example, you guys, you are right now 48 students online. Okay. So if I take your quiz or test or something like that, so you will be getting different marks. Although you all are students, you all are my students, you are all are taking my lectures, but you are getting different marks. Okay. So your the marks you produce or the marks you achieve, marks you attain are different. The same is like workers are producing different quantity of units. This is the example. Let's read the second example and third example so that I move on. Hurry up, hurry up. Everybody read the absenteeism and motivation so that we move on. Are you done? If you are done, then we can move on. Okay, let me know about any example of a variable. What do you think the variable can be? Absenteeism is here, production units are there, marks I just discussed, motivation we just saw. Let me know the other variables you can ever imagine of. Sir, motivation बता दें. अच्छा चलें बताया था मैं आपको. Sir, please explain absenteeism. अच्छा दोनों में कह दिया आपने. Yes sir, gave the example of variables. Sir, you gave the example. आप देना, मैं आपसे कह रहा हूँ. I am asking you. Student learning. हाँ हो सकता है वेरिएबल. सही है. It can be a variable. चले मैं आपको ये भी एक्सप्लेन कर देता हूँ. एब्सेंटिज्म देखिए. एब्सेंटिज्म टुडे 3 members in the sales department may be absent. Tomorrow 6 members may not show up for work. The day after there may be no one absent. ठीक है. The value can thus theoretically range from 0 to all being absent on the absenteeism variable. See, we can apply this example over here. Okay, for example, we are researching on something and absenteeism is one of the variable of our research. So if we apply in our class, so you guys, you are 48 of you, anyone could be absent in today's lecture. Okay, you are 48 of you. For example, we have 50 students in the class. So 2 students are absent in our today's lecture. In the next lecture, there may be 4 students absent and only 46 students will be taking the lecture. In the third session, in the third online session, the 5 students will be absent. 45 students will be taking the class. So the absenteeism varies and varies from 0 to all. It can be varied from 0 to all. For example, all of the students can be absent in the class due to some reason. Maybe that can be the worst case scenario. And all nobody could be absent. So all could be absent or nobody could be absent. So 0 to all. This is all. This is how you can define the variable. Or you may know what could be the values of the variable. Okay, what can be the varying values of the variable. ठीक है, तो absenteeism मैंने आपको समझाया, motivation तो खुद समझ लें, ये भी समझा दूं जैसे आपको. We took a variable from library and one from environment that impacts student learning. In Nimra, I am unable to understand what you are talking about, but still whatever I perceive, I am telling you. हाँ ठीक है, student learning can impact by the facility that includes library and the environment. So environment and the facility that is library or others can impact the student learning. The student learning can be the dependent variable, which we will be discussing, and the independent variables would be environment and library. So I am answering the question. I'm answering the question of, I think, Nimra, probably. I don't remember her name. हाँ, Nimra Emma. ठीक है, ठीक है, ठीक है, ठीक है, ठीक. अच्छा, anyone else other than Nimra? If anyone would like to participate. Anyone would like to tell me the other kind of variables, other possibility of variables? Achha, question and answer option is only open. Question and answer. If you see the option in your Zoom where it is written question and answer. Question and answer, when you click on the question and answer tab, okay, so the window will be open in which you can write the question. Class grades can be variables. Very good, Bilal Khan. Bilkul, grading can be the variables. Okay, what are your grades? For example, I will be taking data from you and I can ask you, okay, what is your GPA? Grades को हमने GPA कह लिया थोड़ी देर. Weather forecasting, हाँ बिल्कुल सही है, change होती है, forecasting change होती है, बिल्कुल सही हो सकता है. Business revenue can vary on economic or social condition. ठीक है, बिल्कुल हो सकता है variable. नजीब अख्तर साहब बिल्कुल सही है, you are correct. हफीज रहमान साहब कह रहे हैं wages depending on sales skill set of workers. ठीक है, बिल्कुल. Salary जिसे कह सकते हैं, ठीक है, बिल्कुल सही. Salary can be a variable. Class grade मैं बता दिया, class grade can be a variable. ठीक है, ठीक है जी. Now you got an idea about the variable. Let's move on. Motivation भी आप लोगों ने कहा था, लेकिन मैं चाह रहा हूँ खुद पढ़ लें. इसमें क्या प्रॉब्लम है? क्या level of motivation of members to learn in the class in a work team might take on varying values, very low to very high. For example, motivation, there are 48 participants in this lecture. ठीक है? And motivation of the students will be different. For example, the student who is very motivated will be listening to my lecture carefully, and the student who is less motivated or not motivated at all will be doing other things as well. Will be surfing in other websites, will be chatting with other people, will be watching television, or will be doing other things. So if you really want to learn, if you are really motivated, then you must Listen to my lecture carefully. So the motivation varies from person to person. There are 48 participants. All participants won't be have the high motivation due to varying reasons. Okay. So how can we grade the motivation? How can we get the data of motivation uh, through expecting the answer or through expecting the data from very low to very high? ठीक है जी? So this is it. I hope the examples are clear. Let's move on. Sure. Can you guys hear me clearly? Shall we move on? Shall we move on? Yes. 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 ठीक है जी. So this topic is clear. Let's move on to the next. So there are four main types of variables. There can be more than four, but over here the Sekaran and Bougie has mentioned four main types of variables. Okay, four main types of variables. First is dependent, second is independent, third is moderating, and the fourth is mediating. First is dependent, and the second is independent, and the third is moderating, and the fourth is okay. So these are the four types of variables. These are the four types of variables. So first, let's start with the dependent variable, that is also called criterion variable. Criterion variable. Okay, since it shows the criteria that so it is named against it. So let's start studying it. What is criterion variable? Okay. A dependent variable is the variable of primary interest. Primary interest क्यों कहते हैं? Why do we call it the primary interest? Why do we take it as a primary interest? Because the researcher's goal is to understand and describe the dependent variable and to explain its variability or predict it. Because the researcher is interested in explaining this variable. Okay. In explaining this variable means they want to explain its response, or they want to predict in the future. For example, the performance. जैसे निम्रा ने बताया था कि student learning. So through research we will be taking out the result of dependent variable, that will be student learning. So student learning, we will be predicting the performance of a student learning. We will be predicting the student learning, how student learning will be through different data of facility and environment. ठीक है जी? Let's take few questions. There are few questions. There are multiple questions over here. How tall are you at different ages? Can be dependent variable. How tall are you in different ages? हाँ हो सकता है, but this cannot be a research. ये हो सकता है, आप सही कह रहे हैं, ठीक है. जो height है, height can be a variable, ठीक है, but should it be a part of a research or not, ये एक अलग बात है. जो आप बता रहे हैं कि it's not a complete research. आपका कितना जो है वो height हुई, कितने एज में, ये रिसर्च नहीं होगी. हाँ ये वेरिएबल हो सकता है, ठीक है जी. सर डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल इज टू प्रेडिक्ट. हाँ, we predict through dependent variable. We explain dependent variable ऑपरेटेड कह सकते हैं, ठीक है जी। अच्छा, in other words it is the main variable that lends itself on investigation as a viable factor. ये आपका main variable है. For example, आप you can say कि my research of RP1 of brand loyalty. So brand loyalty will be your dependent variable. You can tell anybody कि my research of BBA which I did, it's on the topic of brand loyalty. Why? Because it was your dependent variable. You investigate the dependent variable or the brand loyalty. ठीक है जी. So dependent variable is the main variable, is the variable of which we try to find out the changes or we try to predict it. ठीक है जी. You may say. इसको जल्दी से पढ़ लें एग्जाम्पल को, so shall we move on? We shall move on. जो मैंने बात बताई है, it is referring to it. The new participant has just added. Dependent variable मेरे एग्जाम्पल में अभी मैं करूँगा, दूंगा एग्जाम्पल आपको. I will be giving you example of dependent variable. In this example आप देखें, उसको जरा पढ़ें और फिर मुझे आप खुद बताएं कि what can be the dependent variable. Guess it. इसको और एक उसमें आपको समझाता हूँ कि फॉर एग्जाम्पल if we take the variable motivation as an independent variable and student performance as a dependent variable, so it means अब मैं आपको उसकी prediction समझाता हूँ कि what I was talking about the prediction means we will be statistically we will be testing through our research that whether the student performance are better when the student's motivation is low or whether the student motivation is high or mediocre. ठीक है. So we gather the data of motivation and we gather the data of student learning. So we predict that is there any impact of motivation on student learning? If yes, then how much? So that's it. So we try to predict the student learning or student performance through the independent variable. So that's why it is called prediction. Are you done with the example? So shall we move on? I cannot see any message after 138. So can you explain? जो भी whatever task I give you, you return it back. छोटे बच्चे नहीं होते, उनको कहा दो कि बोल दो, फौरन वापस हाथ में आ जाते. भाई आपको मैंने एक टास्क दिया है, इसमें इतना इजी टास्क है, इसमें क्या प्रॉब्लम है आपको? इसमें मल्टीपल एग्जाम्पल दी हुई बेटा. इसमें सबसे पहले सेल्स की बात की हुई है, इसमें फिर उसकी एम्प्लॉयज टर्नओवर की बात की है, फिर लॉयल्टी की बात की है. Try to understand. Read it thoroughly so that you can understand. अच्छा, I am unable to generate any example. ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं, कोई बात. अभी आप जनरेट कर लेंगे, no problem. When I will take you through the other examples. अच्छा, इसको partially I would like to discuss the example. Since a manager is concerned that the sales of a new product introduced after test marketing it do not meet with his expectation. The dependent variable here is sales. ठीक है. Since the sales of the product can vary they can be low, medium और high. इसमें वेरी होगी ना, चेंज होगी, एक ही तो नहीं रहेगी, स्टैटिक तो नहीं होगी. इट इज अ वेरिएबल सिंस सेल्स इज द मेन फोकस ऑफ इंटरेस्ट टू द मैनेजर. इट इज द डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल. ठीक है, सेल्स इज द मेन फोकस. ठीक है, सो इट विल बी अ डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल. अब बेसिक रिसर्चर इज इंटरेस्टेड इन इन्वेस्टिगेशन द debt to equity ratio of manufacturing companies in the southern Germany. Here the dependent variable is the ratio of debt to equity. Whatever is your prime interest. ठीक है, तो वो आप डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल कर लेंगे, उस पर आप रिसर्च करेंगे. और वेरिएबल्स भी होंगे जो कि फैक्टर्स होंगे दैट विल अफेक्ट दी योर डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल. ठीक है, आगे चलते हैं. इसको बाकी आप पढ़ लेगा. आई होप इट विल बी इजी फॉर यू. अच्छा जी, अब करते हैं एक्सरसाइज. जल्दी से बताएं मुझे कि what is the answer of exercise 5.1? The answer of exercise 5.1. Research in behavioral finance has shown that overconfidence can cause investors to underreact to new information. Overconfidence can cause investors to underreact to new information. Shabab, you try to understand that overconfidence is causing investors to underreact. ठीक है, underreact is our which variable, and we are investigating which thing, underreaction. Underreaction to new information is our investigation. Please don't raise hand, you can just write on the question and answer. So underreact is our concern variable. ठीक है, कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा. आंसर अंडररेट. ठीक है, वेरी गुड, शाबाश. कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा. ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस इज डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल. नो, ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस इज नॉट डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल. इट इज causing, it is factor, it is the factor. कोई बात नहीं. अफीरा शेख is saying that sir we cannot see the questions asked by the students. ठीक है, so it is of not of your concern since I am reading the questions before giving the answers, so you do not need to see the questions. Whatever I will answer, I will read ahead of my answer. ठीक है, so you don't have to worry about it. Re-explain the example. एग्जाम्पल जो सिंपल थी कि जो मैंने आपको बताई थी, इसमें सबसे पहले हमने बात की थी सेल्स की. ठीक है, सेल्स वी टॉक्ड अबाउट कि सेल्स इज आवर मेन कंसर्न. फॉर दैट द रिसर्च नीड्स टू बी डन. सो सेल इज आवर डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल. सेकंड इज डेट टू इक्विटी रेशियो. डेट टू इक्विटी इज आवर मेन कंसर्न, सो वी कीप द डेट टू इक्विटी अ डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल. And there can be many factors which are affecting the debt to equity, or there can be many factors which is affecting sales, or there can be many factors which is affecting the underreaction of investors. So our main concern is underreaction. Why there is underreaction, why investors are not reacting to the new information, why they are under reaction. So this is answering the R question, basically the research question. So that the real answer lies in the dependent variable prediction. ठीक है? Can you please repeat exercise? I lost my connection. Exercise तो मैंने कोई दी नहीं. एक क्वेश्चन है जिस पे हम हैं. Can you please repeat exercise? I lost my connection. मैंने बताया ना आपको. Sir, you can see my questions. Yes, that's why I'm answering you. Underreact is a dependent variable. Yes, बिल्कुल सही. ठीक है. Shall we move on? We shall move on. ठीक है, यहाँ तक क्लियर है. तो एक्सरसाइज 5.1 आंसर to the question, what is the dependent variable in this case? So the dependent variable in this case is underreact to new information. Underreact to new information, या आप ये भी कह सकते हैं underreact to information. ठीक है, उसको आप डिफाइन कर लिया कि आपने, क्योंकि वेरिएबल है, so it does not need to have so many words. उसको आप small उसमें थोड़ा सा कंसाइज रखते हैं. So you may say that under reaction to new information. ठीक है जी. भी कोई क्वेश्चन आ रहे हैं? Let me see. What you sir? शाबाश. ठीक है सर. ऐसे समझ है डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल इज ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस. सर ऐसे समझ है. खिजरा फातिमा, आप क्या कह रही हैं? सर ऐसे समझ है डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल इज ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस. देखिए, डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल इज नॉट ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस. बेसिकली डिपेंडेंट independent variable is over confidence because it is causing, ठीक है, it is causing the under reaction to new information. ठीक है, it is causing, whatever is causing is our independent variable. ठीक है. Next question है exercise 5.2. A marketing manager believes that limiting the availability of a product increases product desirability. What is the dependent variable here? देखिए, अब आप मुझे इसमें बताएं. Since it is quite clear to you, let me know the answer of this exercise. A marketing manager believes that limiting the availability of a product increases product desirability. A which thing is causing what? इसको इस तरह देखें. Whatever thing is causing is called the independent variable. Whichever is caused, or whichever is caused, or whichever is changing due to the independent variable is dependent variable. So which thing is being changed due to something? Marketing manager believes. चलिए हम अब आपका आंसर देखते हैं. Let me see your answers. हुनैजा इमरान सिद्दीकी, प्रोडक्ट डिजायरेबिलिटी. ये आंसर कह रही है प्रोडक्ट डिजायरेबिलिटी. ये भी आंसर इज डिपेंडेंट. शाबाश शाबाश बच्चों. Now you guys are getting what I am talking about. Shabash. I really appreciate your response since you guys are giving the response. ठीक है, ठीक है. Limiting the availability. देखिए, limiting the availability, one of the student has answered. Since you have given the wrong answer, so I am not taking your name. It is one of the ethics. देखिए, limiting the availability is one of the factor which is affecting the product desirability. So whatever the factor which is causing something is always the independent variable, and whatever the thing is caused is called dependent variable. Product desirability is caused due to the limiting of availability of product. So limiting the availability is the independent, product desirability is dependent. शाबाश, यमुना ने बिल्कुल सही बताया, शाबाश यमुना। प्लीज रिपीट द एक्सप्लेनेशन। ये क्या मामला है? ये अच्छा, इनकी टाइमिंग अलग है, सही है, 4 minutes behind. Sir, how can underreact be dependent variable? Underreact, ये पुरानी पुरानी बातें क्यों हो रही है? मैंने आपको बताया ना, अंडर रिएक्ट जो है वो कॉज हो रहा है, और वॉट एवर थिंग इज बीइंग कॉज्ड इज डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल, वॉट एवर फैक्टर विच इज कॉजिंग is independent. Overconfidence is independent. Limiting the availability is independent. ठीक है? I hope that independent is also clear to you. This is the next. There are 3 points which I would like to share with you. Following conditions should be met. ठीक है? To establish that a change in the independent variable causes a change in the dependent variable. ये चीज establish करने के लिए कि आपस में इनका interaction से वाकई change आ रहा है. There are 4 conditions that has to be met. Following 4 conditions. That independent dependent variables should co-vary. ठीक है, ये आपस में चेंज होना चाहिए, इनका आपस में वेरिएशन होनी चाहिए, co-vary होना चाहिए. क्या मतलब? when independent is changing, dependent must be changing. The independent variable, the presumed causal factor should precede the dependent variable. क्या हमेशा वो पहले आना चाहिए. It has to precede before the dependent variable. No other factor should be a possible cause of the change in the dependent variable. Okay, there should not be any other factor in your study, in your belief, or in your literature which is missing. So you try to use as many as important or critical factors which is causing the change in the dependent variable. There must be a theory. ठीक है? Fourth point is a logical explanation या theory is needed and it must explain why the independent variable affects the dependent variable. कि why का जो आंसर दे आपको theory, ठीक है, तो आप उसको इनका independent variable को आप define कर सकते हैं. ठीक है जी, तब आप कह सकते हैं independent variable is really there. ठीक है जी. पॉइंट 3 दोबारा बता दें. अच्छा बताया था मैं आपको. और क्या आपने बताया, और आपने क्या पूछा? I am receiving the wrong timings actually. So since my clock is ticking to 12 and you guys are sending me questions ahead of my clock timings, it is quite confusing sometimes and it is not sorted out. Your questions are coming randomly. I have to scroll up and down sometimes to see your questions and I miss out few questions. So please don't mind if I miss out the questions. It is not deliberate. It is due to the scrolling up and down. So through timings, I am understanding the question sequence. Okay, when the questions are being asked, at what time the questions are being asked. Okay, I am just repeating the third one. No other factor should be the possible cause of the change in the dependent variable. क्या मतलब? कि जैसे भी बड़ा अच्छा क्वेश्चन किया जिसने भी किया ही, I don't know the name, कि अभी जैसे Nimra gave an example, the environment and the facility. There are 2 factors which are affecting the student learning. The environment and the facility, which is affecting the student learning. So the environment and the facility must be the main factor in the change of the student learning, in the student learning. There must be 2 important critical factors, what you have found. Or you can support with the theory as well, with the logic as well, by someone who has given a theory or logically prove the relationship between them, that there is a change in the student learning, there is an improvement, or the student learning is decreased with the environment, with the bad environment and with the bad facility. So when there is a theory, and there is already research given in the relationship between them, then you can only make the dependent and independent variable. So this is the, so dependent variable is the one on which we research, and the independent variable is the one which causes the change, the variability in the dependent variable. ठीक है जी? Shall we move on? I can see everyone's question, but it's very difficult to know that which question was asked lastly. So this is my problem. सर किसी एक रिसर्च में दोनों वेरिएबल हो सकते हैं, डिपेंडेंट इंडिपेंडेंट? वेरी गुड, शाबाश, अच्छा क्वेश्चन है. देखें, बिल्कुल हो सकते हैं और होते भी हैं, बिकॉज वी ट्राई टू फाइंड आउट the variability or the change in the dependent variable, that is student learning. We are interested in seeing the change in student learning. ठीक है? तो how can we see the change in student learning? आप बताएं. Without entertaining or without including the independent variable. So there must be factors which are affecting the student learning. So there must be factors. If there are factors, then only we can see the change. If there is no factor, then how can we see the change? Asin Mary आपको? Shall we move on? Sorry, I needed to take a glass of water. Student lack of interest in study can affect their studies. अच्छा, अनीस रफीक साहब ने सवाल करा है. Student lack of interest in study can affect their studies. बिल्कुल सही, बिल्कुल कर सकता है. ठीक है. तो स्टूडेंट लैक ऑफ, ये अच्छा क्वेश्चन है, इसको आप मुझे बताएं कि व्हाट इज दी, अनीस रफीक साहब का क्वेश्चन है, स्टूडेंट लैक ऑफ इंटरेस्ट इन स्टडी कैन अफेक्ट देयर स्टडीज. तो व्हाट विल बी द इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल एंड व्हाट विल बी द डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल इन दिस थीम? बता सकता है? एनीबॉडी कुड टेल? या ऐसे कर लेते हैं, स्टूडेंट लैक ऑफ इंटरेस्ट कैन अफेक्ट देयर परफॉर्मेंस. इसको ऐसे करने आसान हो जाएगा, थोड़ा सा मुश्किल हो रहा है. बताएं जी. आई एम नॉट having any response from you guys. Participant has increased, mashallah, but participation is not increased. I would like to see your participation. This is a very important topic actually. If you don't, lack of interest. अच्छा जी, कुछ आंसर आए? फारिया सिद्दीकी का है, lack of interest is independent. शाबाश शाबाश, जीती रहो. शहरियार सलीम, डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल स्टडीज या लर्निंग. शाबाश, वेरी गुड. शहरियार ने भी सही बताया. शाबाश. नजीब अख्तर ने भी सही बताया, परफॉर्मेंस स्टडी. नहीं, नजीब अख्तर ने गलत बताया that performance in study is independent. नहीं, this is a dependent, because we are going to investigate the performance of a student. ठीक है? And the factor which is affecting the performance is lack of interest. ठीक है जी? I hope you have understood. Now let's move on to the next topic. ठीक है, ये इन्होंने कुछ एग्जाम्पल दी हुई है, आप देख लें. फिर हम इस पे आ जाते हैं. जल्दी से मुझे ये बताएं, इसमें या कि पेपर के लिए इंपॉर्टेंट है 2 क्वेश्चंस, जल्दी से मुझे इसका आंसर बताएं. देन वी मूव ऑन. And you done? Try to complete the both exercises. Try to complete both exercises. You done? Are we done? ठीक है. Let's discuss. आप मुझे बताएंगे आपने क्या करा है. तो let me see. 2-19-2-20. Accuracy of forecast. पहले हम इस क्वेश्चन को पढ़ लेते हैं. So that we can better understand. Acha, now check your answers. ठीक है? I am just giving you answers. And an investor believes that more information increases the accuracy of his forecast. So, which one is our main variable in which we are interested to see the forecast and the change in it? Which one is our main variable? Which one is the criterion variable? Which one is the dependent variable? Which one is our criterion variable? चलो मैं आंसर बताया था. Since there are many answers are coming, तो I hope you guys have understood. तो इसे जल्दी से लेके चलते हैं. So information is our independent variable. लिख लें, नोट कर लें अपने पास. If you are correct, then congratulate. If you are wrong, then don't you worry. You will be understood by the passage of time. ठीक है? But try to concentrate. Try to concentrate so that you don't make a mistake again. ठीक है? Information is independent and accuracy of forecast is dependent variable. Is the main interest of ours. Next, a marketing manager believes that selecting physically attractive spokespersons and models to endorse their products increases the persuasiveness of a message. ये आपका assignment है. ठीक है? I am not giving you the answer जानबूझ के, deliberately, so that you can do this exercise by your own. ठीक है जी? So this is your assignment. ठीक है? This is your assignment. चलें. Let's move on to the next topic, that is the moderating variable. The next topic is moderating variable. So open the presentation which I have shared on your VLE. Online lecture 2 PowerPoint. Online lecture 2 PowerPoint. ठीक है जी. ये assignments, assessment वगैरह आप देख लें कि we will be discussing two main variables in this remaining part of our lecture, and two main variables will be moderating and mediating. ठीक है? And we will be discussing different situations in which we can take out the variables and understand how they behave with the different variables. And what will be our objective is to understand in different situations, understand the variables and their behavior in different situations. Methodology will be same, learner-centered, interactive, problem solving. Assessment will be through class assignment. I will be giving you class assignment just like I gave you. In that I will be sharing you the solution as well. so that it will be easy for you. Home assignment, for the home assignment, I won't be sharing any solution now. So for the home assignment, I have already uploaded the link on VLE. In that you can submit your home assignment. Okay? Let's start with the moderating variable. I need your concentration. I need your little attention, because without attending my lecture of especially these variables, you can never move on. Okay? So it is quite tricky than before. The variables we have just understood were not as tricky as they are. So you need to give your best concentration. Okay? I request you all to give your best concentration. Okay, let's start. So our lecture will end within 5 minutes. So this is very unfortunate. So our lecture will end within 5 minutes. That is 2:30. So the moderating variable is one that has a strong contingent. Contingent is synonym to conditional. Strong conditional effect on the independent variable. The moderating variable is one that has a strong means the visible effect, the visible conditional effect on the independent variable. Okay? Strong, when we say strong, because it is visible. Okay? It is significant. Okay? So the moderating variable is one that has a strong conditional effect on the independent variable, and dependent variable relationship. इसको समझिएगा जरा गौर से. The moderating variable is one that has a strong conditional effect on the independent variable and the dependent variable relationship. So the relationship affects by the moderating variable. Okay? Affects the relationship between independent and dependent variable. Relationship is affected by the moderating variable. That is the presence of a third variable. The moderating variable modifies or changes the original relationship. The original relationship. This is the main difference. If it changes the original relationship. Original means, मैं आपको थोड़ा बता देता हूँ. Original means, for example, the environment or the facility of the campus is improving the student learning. With the addition of the moderating variable, it is not improving as before. For example, there is a 1 degree change in the facility, the 2 degree improvement in the student learning. When we change the student facility by 1, the student learning changes by 2. Multiply by twice. It changes by twice. Okay? Through introducing the moderating variable, it is not changing or varying by twice. It is only varying by 1.5, or it is varying more 3. So by changing the facility by 1 and after introducing the moderating variable, the student learning is increasing by 3. Got it? This is the concept. आप इतना समझे तो फिर मैं आगे बताऊं. Let me see your chat. Sir, what is the assignment again? देखिए assignment अभी as such अगर आप देखें तो एक only assignment है. That was the class assignment. 5 point probably वो कौन सा था? 5 point किताब का जो एक exercise थी, which I left, जिसमें मॉडल्स का था ना, मॉडल्स वाला जो क्वेश्चन है 2 लाइन्स का, बस वो है अभी आपका असाइनमेंट. सिंस दिस टॉपिक इज नॉट कंप्लीटेड येट, सो this cannot be your assignment. There cannot be any more assignment. Sir, kindly unmute me. I have some. See, I cannot unmute you, Huda Afzal. I appreciate that you have many questions, but I cannot unmute you. You can only ask question through writing me, as you are writing me. Sir, kindly unmute me. I have some questions. In fact, if you have many questions, I cannot unmute you. ठीक है जी सर, मॉडरेटिंग नहीं आ रहा समझ. अच्छा, अभी तो मैंने बताया, वैसे समझ भी नहीं आ रहा आपको. तब मॉडरेटिंग वेरिएबल एक्सप्लेन कर दें. अच्छा, ये अभी होगा. कंटीजेंट मीन्स बताया आपको, कंडीशनल है, इजी वर्ड्स में. अच्छा, अभी आएगा बेटा, अभी तो स्टार्ट है, अभी तो स्टार्ट है. डोंट यू वरी, सब समझ में आएगा. ठीक है, मैंने आई जस्ट डिफाइंड यू दी फर्स्ट डेफिनेशन. लेट्स एंड आवर लेक्चर ओवर हियर सिंस द टाइम इज ओवर. ठीक है, so we need to end our lecture here.